Hello, friends,
Raider
and welcome into
What's
the
going
Raiders
on? Is this
Report.
the number
I am
one
Tom
Raiders channel?
Downey. Yes, I'm subbing in here for Mitchell Renz, and I'll explain why here in a little bit. But I am subbing in today for Mitchell Renz because we got some breaking news. The Raiders have cut Chris Warren. Yeah, you heard me right. They have released Chris Warren today, a bit of a surprising move here out of training camp, and instead they have signed James Butler. Now, Warren didn't play at all last season, was placed on IR. I called it an IR stash because that's kind of really what it was there. But he did lead the NFL in preseason rushing yards last year, which kind of started the Chris Warren hype train. But that hype train is now dead. It's not coming back anytime soon. Warren has been released by the Oakland Raiders, with Oakland choosing to sign James Butler, who was on the team's practice squad last year. And look, I'm kind of surprised by it. I didn't think Chris Warren was going to make the roster. I know many of you Raiders fans out there did, because Mitchell Renz doesn't ever shut up about you guys, because you guys are a great fan base. But I didn't think he was going to make the roster. But for him to be cut today, the end of July, before even week one of the preseason, I'm pretty surprised by it. So let me know in the comments section. I'll give some shout-outs here on air as well. One-word reaction to Chris Warren's release. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know. My word here is going to be surprised, or even perplexed if you want to go with a word that Mitch doesn't know. I am kind of surprised by it. I see Robert says WTF. SLS Gaming says finally. Someone says darn. Someone says fat. That's pretty crazy. Someone says Tom and crazy. You guys definitely do pay attention there. Someone just says what? Really unexpected? Yeah. Someone says business. I am a little surprised by the whole thing. Now, just some background here on why Warren has been released from Vic Tafur, who originally broke the news. He says the staff didn't fully trust Chris Warren, namely because the weight and the playbook knowledge wasn't consistent, which I think definitely makes sense. You guys all know about the weight issues Chris Warren has had of late. Now, I will make note that Warren did practice yesterday with the team, and despite that, the Raiders have gone on and cut Chris Warren today, signing James Butler in his place. But, look, I didn't think Warren was going to make the team, but I did think he was going to make it through the preseason. Also, to quickly answer your question here, Gary Michael, is AB okay? Yes, in a related note, but not fully related here. Antonio Brown is back and practicing. He's been taken off that injury list there. He's fine. So the Raiders have cut Chris Warren. That is your breaking news today here on the Raiders Report with me, your guest host, Tom Downey. Now, several of you have been asking, where's Mitch? Well, let me explain why and where Mitchell Renz is right now. Several of you asking about that at the moment, and I certainly understand it. Where is Mitch? Let me know in the comments section. I'll explain where he is in a little bit. But a big part of this here, look, we had to fire Mitch. I'm sorry. We had to fire Mitch. Now, do you guys like the Raiders Report? I know you guys do, but you aren't really showing it with your subscriptions. Mitch is not here because we had to fire him. All right? We had to fire Mitch. You guys didn't subscribe enough. Plain and simple. Now, I know you guys like the Raiders Report here. I know you do, but you haven't subscribed enough yet. We'll get the proper link up on screen so it's there in case you guys are watching on Facebook here. We got, over 200 people watching right now. I don't think all of you are subscribed. So I know you're asking, where's Mitch? If you like the Raiders Report and you want Mitch to come back, unlike Monday, make sure you're subscribed. The link is below, but if you're watching, just hit that big red button. All right? That's all you guys got to do. Now, of course, I'm kidding, guys. Mitch has not been fired. You don't need to freak out in the comments section. Mitch is not fired. But what I do want you guys to do is tweet lame at Mitch for not being here. Mitch is with his family, because apparently family's important and some type of BS there. So I want you all to tweet lame at Mitch for not being here and making me, and you guys don't even like me all that much, having to sub in on the Raiders Report. So go tweet lame at Mitch for not being here, as you've heard like 1,800 times, at Mitchell Renz 365. Go tweet lame at Mitch for not being here, and he'll come back soon. Also, I think it is hilarious that you all are typing in the comment section that Mitch has a hangover. That would be very on brand for Mitch, but no, he's actually with family today. So, but either way, tweet lame at him for not being here at Mitchell Renz 365. Now, in terms of where the Raiders sit right now with their depth chart, someone says taking shots, and I merged my words there. Obviously, Chris Warren's no longer on there. We'll bring up the fullbacks here just so it's listed too. James Butler is now your number 5 running back. Joshua Jacobs is gonna be your number 1. He's gonna start most of the year because you don't spend a first-round pick on a back and not start him. Well, I guess unless you're Seattle. I guess Seattle could do that there. Jalen Richard's on there. He's going to be kind of your third down back. Doug Martin, I think now with Chris Warren, has a much better shot to be your number 3 back in your more typical backup, because Richard's a little bit more of a scat back type. And DeAndre Washington also on there as another potential scat back type option. Now, speaking of Josh Jacobs, will he rush for 1,000 yards this year? Let me know in the comment section. Normally, I don't always play nice with you guys because it's funnier that way, and we have a good laugh, I think. But I actually do think Jacobs will approach 1,000 yards this year on the ground. I think he is going to be your workhorse back. I think he's going to have a big, big year for the Oakland Raiders. Also, shout out Muhammad, who says, this is good Hard Knocks. This is going to be good for Hard Knocks. Hopefully, we get to see the release, which I feel bad saying because I feel bad Chris Warren got cut just on a personal level, but that's going to be intriguing there. Now, in terms of who the Raiders have brought in, James Butler, a former free agent, is now the new other backup running back. I don't want to assign numbers there, but let's not get it. So he's the number 5 running back for the Oakland Raiders. He spent much of last year on the practice squad, and he was part of the team's offseason activities. He's probably not going to make the team here. That's not the likely outcome here. I think in reality, he's more of a camp body because you have Josh Jacobs who's going to make the team. Jalen Richard, going to make the team. One of Doug Martin, if not both of Doug Martin and DeAndre Washington, will also make the team this year. So for Butler, he'll have a chance. He could maybe surpass DeAndre Washington. He spent last year on the practice squad, but I would be a little bit surprised if Butler actually made the team. I saw several of who the F or who the Tomming is James Butler, which is a fair question. He spent time with the team this offseason, but I would be a little bit surprised if he actually made the team. Also, I see John Butson wants to know how much James Butler weighs. Very different type of running back. Chris Warren listed at 246. James Butler is listed at 210 pounds. So there's a good 35-pound difference there. He's out of Iowa. Of course, didn't play last year in terms of the actual regular season games for the Raiders. Was a Nevada transfer to Iowa. So another question for you guys. Are you upset that the Raiders have cut Chris Warren? Let me know in the comment section. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let me know in the comment section. Y for yes, N for no. I'm curious what these reactions are. I see SLS Gaming says nah. Dead Raider says nah. John says no. Okay, so mostly N's here. I see Anthony says yes. Okay. So I think that's the proper reaction. I think that's fair. We do have a comment here from Mitchell Renz, who is in the live chat right now. He says, I'm visiting family. I'll be back. Chill. Remember, tweet lame at him. He is at Mitchell Renz 365 because he tells you guys every 5 minutes on the show. But tweet him lame. It'll be funny there. And also, keep your comments coming. I'll have producer Tad here bring some up in terms of everything with Chris Warren. I also see John the Baptist, nice name, says nope, we're weight issues. CSFL champion, he says that they need more Tarzans at running back. Well, as long as they don't play like Jane, yes. I agree with that one there. Brian Jones says he's thinking the Raiders will regret releasing Chris Warren. I mean, it's certainly plausible. As someone who actually had stashed Chris Warren on their fantasy team this past year in the IR spot, probably not. I think who said it? I just saw it here. Say When says Warren can't block or catch. Just pretty accurate, I think. All right, Mysterious Matthew wants to know what kind of running back is he. I believe he's referring here to James Butler. Elusive, power, receiving. I think someone in the comments called him discount Jalen Richard, which is, I think, fair enough. He is more of an elusive type of back. He does have a good build for 5'9", being 210. That's some good size on an under-heighted frame, which I think is a sentence that makes sense there. But I don't think he's going to be a unique. And oh my God, we found this guy all of a sudden. I wouldn't have high expectations for James Butler. John Parker, Ingold is better than Warren. Well, in terms of what they ask them to do, yes. I mean, if you ask Alec Ingold to be a running back, well, Chris Warren's better. But if you ask Chris Warren to be a fullback, well, Alec Ingold's better. So I think it makes sense for the Raiders if they want to have Ingold at fullback to keep him there more than Chris Warren. All right, Alan, and I'm not even going to try the last part there because I'm just going to botch it, so I'm sorry. He says the Pats will pick him up and make a beat with him and make Chucky look stupid. I'll take that bet or beat, whatever word that actually is. I assume you mean beast. I wouldn't worry too much about Chris Warren having a great impact. Look, if any running back gets a chance, he'll probably produce a little bit there. But I wouldn't worry too much about Chris Warren suddenly becoming a great player in the NFL. I think the reality is he had his shot with the Raiders and didn't make the most of it. All right, Coley Best, will Warren make the practice squad? Not now that he's been cut. Now, there's a chance Chris Warren could come back to the team, especially if there's another injury at the running back spot. But the fact they're releasing him in July, that's not a good sign for how the Raiders staff feels about Chris Warren. All right, GFR Poppy, he says bring back beast mode. Let me know why for yes and for no. Because I wouldn't expect you'll see Chris Warren back in the NFL. I think this time around, it's about over here for Chris Warren. I don't think he's going to have, about over for Marshall, excuse me. I don't think he's going to have a big impact there. All right, John Wick, nice name. He says because Warren can't block. You're right. Look, I kind of counseled Mitch on this when he was doing the whole Chris Warren to fullback thing. And because I'm a Texas Longhorns fan, and I guess fan. I follow them closely. Texas tried this. They tried the whole fullback thing with Chris Warren, and it didn't work. So, John, you're right. Chris Warren is not a blocker. He is an old-school running back style, and that running back style is not really much of a thing in the NFL. I think the biggest reason why he got cut to begin with, the staff did not trust Chris Warren. Like, the staff did not trust him. There were always weight issues. That was a real thing for the Oakland Raiders. And I think the biggest note from Victor Ford today was that the playbook knowledge came and went. It wasn't always consistent there. So you're right, John, that Chris Warren can't block. That's also answering Derek Butler's question here as to why not move Chris Warren to fullback. Texas tried this. It wasn't an effective thing. It didn't do that well. So for the Raiders' perspective, I don't think Warren at fullback was ever going to make a whole lot of sense. So that's kind of your question why there. He's not a great blocker, and if you can't block at fullback, what's really the point? Super chat coming in from White Hat. White, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Do we still have Washington? Yes, the Raiders still have DeAndre Washington. I think right now he is the fourth running back on this depth chart behind Josh Jacobs, who is going to be your number one, behind Jalen Richard, behind Doug Martin, and then Washington checks in at number 4. James Butler slots in at number 5. I am curious to see how many running backs the Raiders carry this year. I want to know if they carry 4 or 3, and I'm not including fullbacks in the discussion because they're going to carry 1 there, I think. I'm very curious to see how it all plays out. Now, Renee G says, wow, I think it's a bad idea to cut him with the surprisey face and then the angry swear word face. Let me know how you guys feel in the comment section. Obviously, I'm not as attached to the Raiders as Mitch is, although I do follow them when I lived out in the Bay Area. If it makes you guys feel better, I like the Raiders way more than like the 49ers when I lived out there. I don't know if it's a bad idea. I'm going to say it's more of a surprising idea. Now, Chevelle38370, with I think a fair point here, says Warren will get another opportunity and will kill it like C.J. Anderson did last year. Says it's disappointing. I think that's fair. A fair comparison. I do think Anderson, and I know this, is a way better player than Chris Warren was. I do think Warren gets another opportunity. I just don't know if you're going to see it be a C.J. Anderson type breakout. Cisco_955 says we would have cut D-Wash and kept Warren, to be honest. I guess I get where you guys are coming from. Now, I like this one from Mysterious Matthew. Will we trade for Duke Johnson or sign Theo Riddick? I wouldn't get your hopes up for a Duke Johnson signing. And I actually like the idea of Theo Riddick on this team. Issue here is that with Jalen Richard already in town, he and Riddick are kind of, they overlap too much. They're kind of the same type of player. So if like Richard gets hurt, yes, I think the Raiders would have interest. But for now, I think the Raiders will stick with Jalen Richard, and Riddick will try and find somebody else who has more obvious playing time there. Joshua Himsel, if I pronounced that wrong, I'm very sorry, Joshua. If Carr has a bad year, what is his trade value in your perspective? Define bad, I guess is the first question I have. Like if Derek Carr has, let's say it was just like last year, I do think there is some semblance of trading. Like Derek Carr is better than Joe Flacco, and Joe Flacco got a pick back for him. Producer Taz giving me a weird face. No, Producer Taz, quit being a hater. Derek Carr is better than Joe Flacco. This is not a hot take. This is a straight-up fact as far as I'm concerned. What helps for Derek Carr in terms of any potential trade is his salary would come in under 9. Actually, it would be almost exactly $19 million with no dead money for a team. The Raiders would absorb any dead money that's left. So I think there is value. As long as the bottom doesn't tank out, there's going to be... I mean, look, at minimum, someone traded for Ryan Tannehill. All right? So there will be trade value. I don't think it's going to be a first-round pick, but I think you could at least get a mid to late round pick back for Derek Carr. Absolute worst case scenario. Winston and no one, do you think we will add a power back before this season? I suppose it's possible, although if you keep Doug Martin, I think that kind of is your power back. I think in the end for the Oakland Raiders anyway, Joshua Jacobs becomes your power back in the sense that in power back scenarios, the goal line, all of that, he's going to get the touches. So he'll be the focal point there of the ground game. Again, if you are just now joining us, I am subbing in here for Mitchell Renz. We'll break down why here in a couple of seconds. But the Raiders have cut Chris Warren. Yeah, that's the breaking news today. Chris Warren on his way out from the Oakland Raiders. The team has instead signed James Butler, which is kind of a re-signing of James Butler. Now, neither Warren nor Butler played at all last year. Warren was placed on IR after leading the NFL in preseason rushing yards. So for Warren, I think he gets another chance. But for those of you who are still on the Chris Warren hype train, he is now on his way out. So one-word reaction, guys, to Chris Warren's release. Let me know in the comment section. Let me know. What's your one-word reaction? Mine is surprised. I didn't think he was going to make the team, but I am kind of surprised that the Raiders cut him so early. I thought he would have had an entire preseason to at least show what he could do. So I am kind of surprised by that one, and I'll make note, Warren did practice with the team yesterday. Now, the staff did not fully trust Chris Warren. That is the report from Vic Tafur, namely because the weight and playbook knowledge wasn't that consistent. I think that's a pretty noteworthy thing there. I'm kind of surprised at the timing of the whole thing here. Someone says mistake. Someone says shut up, Mitch, in the comment section. That's pretty funny. Again, one-word reaction here. Someone says F as they're grading it in there right now. Someone said okay. Again, my one word there is surprised. I am kind of surprised that Chris Warren has been cut by the Oakland Raiders. Daniel wants to know if they should cut Keith Smith too. I am on board with Mitch there. Yes, cut Keith Smith and make Alec Ingold your fullback. Of course, Mitchell Renz is not here right now. He is visiting family. So he's making me sub in for you guys. And you guys don't even like me that much, which is fine. I don't take it personally. It's pretty funny to me, actually. So what I want you guys to do is tweet lame at Mitch for not being here. Tweet him for not being here, because he is being lame right now, visiting family instead of doing his job, making me do it for him there. All right, so at Mitchell Renz 365 is the Twitter handle there. Go tweet lame at him because he's not here, and he's making me do it instead, which is very, very lame in the end. Again, the Raiders updated running back depth chart, like on Mitchell Renz. Can't read what's on screen in front of me. Go figure, right? Josh Jacobs is the number 1, and long term, that's what he's going to be. Jalen Richard is the number 2. Doug Martin is the number 3, and DeAndre Washington is your number 4 for now. Butler's your number 5. I think the 3 through 5 spots very much up for grabs here. But let me know what you guys think there in the comment section. Now, which running back is better? As producer Tad throws this one up in here for you. Type D for Doug Martin, C for Chris Warren. Let me know in the comment section. D for Doug Martin, C for Chris Warren. I'm curious what these votes are, and I'll get some shout-outs here. Alejandro says D. John says D. James says D. Scott says... Okay, so it's like all Ds. Couple of C's in there. Yes, phrasing, producer Tad. That is right. That is a phrasing moment there. But the Doug Martins have it. The Ds have it, and I think that's the correct answer there as well. Someone said muscle hamster. That's also an acceptable answer there. Now, in terms of who the Raiders have brought in to replace Chris Warren, that is James Butler, who spent a good portion of last year on the practice squad for Oakland, was part of the team's offseason activities, then was released, and he's probably not going to make the team. I don't know which this has more to do with. The Raiders wanting to get Butler back on the roster or wanting to get rid of Chris Warren. I'm going to go more with the latter there. But we know how good Chris Warren was last year in the preseason, and I know it's a little bit disappointing because I'm on board as you guys here. Like, I had high hopes for Chris Warren. In my Dynasty Fantasy League, I stashed Chris Warren there the entire season. Now, I cut him after the draft because I could read the writing on the wall, but I am a little bit surprised that Chris Warren has been cut. And I will make note, I forget who it was in the chat, I'm sorry that I missed your name, asked what the money savings were here for Chris Warren. In the end, nothing. Because he also signed James Butler. Like, Warren was not making anything more than James Butler is going to make, so in the end, it's not going to save you any money in the end on your cap space, and it's really not going to save you much come 53-man roster time either. So guys, are you upset about the Raiders cutting Chris Warren? Type Y for yes, type N for no.